Today, we'll be speaking to Toby, who is an engineering and business leader with over 10 years of experience across energy, education, and finance. So, Toby, to start off, could you tell us more about when it comes to working on tasks, whether it's at work? How do you juggle multiple tasks without being burnt out? And what drives you on a daily basis when it comes to doing work or getting out of bed?
That's a very good question, Sean. I think one thing that I learned during my time at U of T was, working on multiple engagements, um, it's very important to have a planner to be able to categorize each of the activities that you need for to complete for each of the engagements. And so that was something that naturally translated to work because at work you're working on multiple projects at one time, you're working with multiple stakeholders, and you're responsible for driving the initiative forward. So having a planner that captures everything that you need to do for each one, when you need to do it, is important. And I think when it comes to managing burnout, it's the most important thing is alignment. So finding the opportunities that you're taking on that align with who you are, your goals as an individual, how you want to grow. Of course, not everything is going to be 100% aligned. So looking for opportunities to stretch and learn from those stretch experiences is very important. But of course, don't overdo it because if you overdo it, then you could lead yourself to burnout. And um, I would also encourage looking for ways to manage bringing yourself back into alignment. So what that looks like is having a support network, looking for things that would, I guess, resonate with your inner child, things that help you find rest. For me, it's, football, like with Manchester United, playing football as well with friends. So that helps center me in those high pressure moments.
Yeah, I'm sure, making sure that you have that inner child in you when it comes to, outside of work really helps, build that all round personality. Because I know sometimes people dread going to work and then they keep thinking about work even on the weekends. And that's not a good sign of, having that balance. I think having that balance, making sure that you're doing the things you like outside of work as well, helps you, stay active and, stay regulated with the things you do. And you don't have that feeling of being burnt out as much as well. So, I definitely resonate with that with sometimes with assignments and things like that. But yeah, it's great to see that those are some things you do to make sure that you're staying grounded and focused on work on a day-to-day basis. So another question I have is I know you recently transitioned from consulting to becoming a business coach to help individuals with advice and tips. So what inspired you to lead to this transition and uh, could you tell us more about your work right now?
Yeah, so my hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So my journey has been, I would say, a squiggly one, which is a term that I learned at Deloitte, which is that it's not always straightforward. I started out in research and development, so at U of T chemical engineering, also exchange at Liverpool. Um, and I moved towards project management because I found that that was one of my strengths, being able to coordinate and organize things. And then I gravitated towards consulting because of the people aspect, being able to listen to understand people's challenges and looking for ways to map out a solution. And so moving from consulting to a business coach was I would say, a very natural transition for me. I found during my master's and also leading up to finishing my undergrad that I also like the entrepreneurship side of things. So helping people take an idea and bring it into reality and building out a solution that's congruent with with what you want to build as a business owner. So, um, yeah, it was challenging from time to time, in the sense that not every client problem is straightforward. Sometimes it's not just a problem that sits within the business owner in terms of like trying to map out an idea or get sales, it's also looking at how to develop a team. And in those instances, it creates a little bit more of a dynamic when it comes to looking for a solution. So it's all just, looking for ways to understand the context and then bridge that gap between the problem that they're experiencing and where they would like to be.
Right. That makes a lot of sense, and I think it's great that you had that natural transition towards becoming a business coach because even with consulting, when you're working within the field, you're basically helping people with their client problems and companies with their problems and developing strategies for them. So this would be more on an individual level. You're helping a person with their problems or even things where they can improve upon their personality or traits and stuff like that. So I think it's great to see that you're able to continue that consulting mindset even within business coach role where you're like advising people or even people like run their own business. So it's great to see that you had that natural transition and being that entrepreneur mindset which you probably built through university as well is also a great way of managing time on your own pace and also working with clients based on their needs as well. So yeah, another question I had was when it comes to thinking about what you want to do within your career. I know, after you finished your master's in chemical engineering, you would have been a bit confused on what you wanted to do. I know you started off with a bit of research at U of T before then transitioning to the corporate world. So, if you were to go back to the start of your career right out of university, was there anything you do differently? I know sometimes even with careers, they tend to have so many shifts when you start off and then you transition to so many new things which you never really expect yourself to do. So was there anything you do differently if you were looking back to those days?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, because al- always like to plan ahead of time. Like even when I was in second year, I knew, okay, I wanted to do something chemical engineering related in the oil and gas field. And so at times in my planning process, I tended to be a bit more rigid. So when graduation came and I was looking for roles in the oil and gas field and things weren't as rosy as I expected in terms of finding the opportunities, I think it's important to be flexible, especially in your early career. There are a lot of transferable skills that you can gain from any opportunity that you get out of the gate from university that would feed into what you want to do in the future. And I think looking back, as Steve Jobs says, you connect the dots backwards. Looking back, you find out that the things that were resonating with you as who you want to be, like the entrepreneurship side. I don't think I would have gotten that entrepreneurship side developed if I had gone straight into the oil and gas field. Like I was very lucky that I had the opportunity to work in program management at U of T right after graduation, especially with innovating the education space. So having that experience, I think, set me on the path to, where I am right now as a business coach because, those were things that maybe when I was a student, I thought, you know, I don't know enough to be able to say let's make a career out of this. So yeah, my advice to students is be flexible, be open, and let life take you where you would eventually end up. Of course, have a plan as you go along, but be flexible to change.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And even with the analogy of Steve Jobs, where you connect the dots and see what interests you. I know he did like a degree in like graphic design and then he sort of dropped out and he was doing courses which he didn't really know what he wanted to do, but then ended up creating Apple with his co-founder. So you always have that opportunity to be flexible, and in the end, an opportunity can line up, and you can build those transferable skills and transition to any field you like. Based on how you're able to showcase those skills you build. So in the end, yeah, I think keeping a flexible mindset, especially as a student who's never entered the workforce, you get that flexibility of seeing what you like when you start off, and then always transition and things that interest you as well. So yeah, my final question is if people want to reach out to you, is there any way they can connect with you and uh, reach out to you in case they have any other questions?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the easiest way to reach out to me is my LinkedIn profile. So I think Sean, you can share that. It's Tobi Eden. um, and you find me, my face on the profile. So
Yeah.
that's the best way to connect with me and to triage things. But in the future, I will have a website to be able to coordinate any requests that you have.